got the haircut, Tommy boy. Look at that.
Well, Sean, Donncha, good weather means you got to get the haircut. A bit hot. How are you?
It is. The weather's beautiful at the moment, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Yeah,
we don't talk it up
badly needed
enough in Ireland when the weather's really good. You know what I mean? We nearly bitch and whinge. You know what I mean? Oh, it's too hot. I need to get the haircut.
Isn't that unreal how everybody just complains it's actually too hot? That's literally all people were talking about this morning. Couldn't sleep last night. It's too hot, too hot.
Yeah.
We love to moan about the weather. That's just the way it is.
Exactly. And look, I suppose the brighter evenings with the hour moving back and everything, it does fool kids a little bit though, doesn't it? My kids are up the walls over it.
Speaking of fools, any good April for you? There must be a lot of April Fool's pranks going on in your house.
We celebrate April Fools in our house, yeah, to be fair. And look, they're like our kids, you know, kind of 14 down to 9, so it's good silly
Epic.
Every yeah, they're kind of funny ones.
Do they come up with them themselves now? Like, would you be in on it?
No, every glass I look at the moment, and even in the press, I don't know how they've done it. My little girl Robin, she's 11, she has filled every glass upside down. I do not know how she's done it. Every glass is like on the shelf with water, and as soon as I go to lift it up, the water
even
will
on the
pour
shelf,
out.
Like in the cupboard with them all
in where they're stored, man. She has done them all in there, and they're like,
April Fools is over, Robin.
There you go. It's to a whole new level. Just anytime there was a glass around for the day, you look over and it was upside down.
Is that the one you put the beer mat under it and you kind of put it in and then slide it really quickly out and then that's stuff to the...
Is that what she's done? Because honestly, I must say her prep work has been perfect. There hasn't been a drop around them. In fact, like, you know what I mean? I'm going to pick up glasses now going, whoa! At that point. And there was another one.
My daughter's only 8 and she had, I have kind of overnight oats going down to Dublin in the mornings. So I have it in the fridge, the porridge. So she can't hold her water. Like, she was just so excited what she'd done. So
don't you love it?
I heard her sprint. She was watching something on the telly and it was around pranks, and she sprinted off these great ideas. So she'd filled up to the brim my overnight oats with vinegar. With no vinegar left in the house and the smell of it. And that night when she was going to bed, she goes, are you going to have porridge tomorrow? And I knew, right? And then the other one was, she went off and you could you could just clearly hear she went and got the cling film and cling filmed the toilet roll, or the toilet seat. But Brilliant. She didn't know that cling film actually sticks. So she got sellotape then as well. And you could hear like the sellotape and ripping and they're cutting it and sticking to the side. Anyway,
brilliant.
So
good on her. Brilliant.
Yeah, hilarious.
Do you know why, Tommy? Because I'm a big believer in this. I actually think you have to teach crack. You have to teach fun. You have to teach that kind of like, it's okay to be caught or laughed at. And
agree.
I actually think it's like something that separates Irish people, that ability to laugh at ourselves. And if we don't, I actually think April Fools is important, that we kick it back a generation. You know what I mean? That we're there like, let's have fun. Let's have a laugh.
It's funny, right? On Ireland AM this week, right, we were talking about this. And they were quite reluctant to do April Fool's jokes because people get so up in arms that if you were to change a headline, change a story, that actually people would complain about it. And even we had somebody a couple of journalists, they were saying the same. That I think the journal used to always do great pranks, but they were saying in the times of fake news and fact checking, actually people would be losing their mind. People just can't take a joke anymore. So isn't that a sad state of affairs?
It 100% is. Right. I think it's just because everything's negative, if you know what I mean. So you do put across the negative side of it. I actually think that's where we come into our own as Irish people. You know what I mean? Spin it and you know what I mean? It's a bit of fun, lads. That's a bit of fun. But I
think that the two of us, to be fair, are well used to making a tit of ourselves. So we kind of are so used to of people laughing at you. Some players maybe wouldn't be quite as easy to be slagged off. But no, I think you're right. I think it is something that has to be encouraged from a parent's point of view as well. Do you have any good... do you remember any pranks? I have a prank for you, right? Remember the prop, Justin Fitzpatrick, former Irish and Ulster prop, right?
First time in the Irish squad, he was there, yeah.
Right. So this is going back a long time. When I started out
Cheers.
In the when I did the prank, that was a long time
Well
ago.
done, smart ass.
We used to get a car. It was actually a Subaru Impreza. We used to get I know, how cool is that? I was in college at the time,
There you
driving
go.
a Subaru Impreza, big spoiler and stuff.
I mean,
Anyway.
who gives a 19-year-old semi-professional rugby player one of the quickest cars around? Why?
Didn't even have to get insurance or anything, and all
What?
my student mates loved raking around in it. Anyway, Fitzy came back from wherever he was playing in England to join Ulster. I had to hand back my car, got a new one. He got my old car, right? Because it was quite a cool one. So he took the bet. Anyway, we were in pre-season. I had a spare key. When he went down to the coffee shop with the lads, right? Trimby would take me and we'd drive down to the coffee shop as well. I'd hop into his car and park at the opposite direction. So he would be facing one way. I'd hop in, turn it around, park in the same spot, facing the opposite direction. And you'd see him coming out and he'd be like scratching his head going, I'm sure I was facing it. But like,
he's calling into Weber, the doc, going, I think I need to do a HIA.
So then the next week, I left it like well spaced apart. The following week, went down, followed them down as well, and parked on the opposite side of the road. So he kept coming back, and then
brilliant.
And we just kept elevating it, and then one day, we parked it right on the middle of the training field. So he came out of the cafe, no car to be seen, had to call to get a taxi or lift back up to training, and it was parked right in the middle of the training pitch. And anyway, didn't go down too well when he found out it was me.
Yeah. I do remember Justin Fitzpatrick. I was on a tour. We went to Tonga and Samoa, and we were in Australia. I need to get the story off the lads, the kind of more senior lads on the tour, because I was honestly very much head down trying to get through this. But I think he got a letter from his rabbits. I think his rabbits wrote him a letter, because those were the times where you'd make an arrangement for phone calls. It was really difficult, you know what I mean, relationship wise and stuff.
There's no FaceTime back then.
No, there wasn't. So then I think at one point I'll find out about that story, but I do remember Fitzy got a letter from his rabbits to see how he was doing. Love
it's
it.
Even back in those days, remember, that was kind of 04, 05, 06, and he was one of the ones who used to tell us as young lads, mortgage yourselves to the hilt, lads. Mortgage yourselves to the hilt.
Buy it off the plans and flip it. Don't worry about London getting the Olympics. It'll be Luton.
2 years later, financial crash happens, and thanks Fitzy. Cheers to that. Good times.
Yeah. But when you think of the pranks that went down, I remember it was a bit of crack around Irish camp to put Dave Revens' bike in unusual places. But once a few of the lads got it up onto the rafters, do you remember?
I do.
Impaled on it. That wasn't a bad one. But the best one, I think...
and hung it up in a tree one time as well. And he loved that racing bike.
That took some climbing, man, honestly. Day before you're playing Italy and there you are climbing a tree with a bike over your head. Priceless stuff. The best prank, I think, around camp, the silly ones always get me, and this one, I loved it. And it's funny because who it was. David Humphreys on Paddy.
I have one for Hump as well, right? Go on, keep going.
on Paddy Wallace, Wally did something to him. Paddy Wallace did something, and he clipped all the handles off his bags. He took every handle off those wheelie bags that we used to have for touring. So Paddy would have to, he'd have to either lift it or hold it upright while he rolled it. It was a nightmare to get the thing around the place.
We had this one as well, and Hump's not going to forgive us for this because, of course, he is the high performance director of the IRFU now. Very serious, making big decisions on Jack Crowley's future.
There he goes, Could I get more
Jack,
players to Leinster?
For you. Come to us, Jack, if you want a bit of ammo to get something back on Hump. But I actually have a couple of ones with Hump, but there was one time Hump used to be in charge of rooming, and me and Trimby used to room with each other all the time, and Hump used to room with Gervin Dempsey. And we used to slag them off. The most boring room of all time.
You just think that would be a boring room, don't you? They're both lovely fellas.
Watching Countdown, reading the Financial Times. And me and Trimby used to think it was so funny. We'd keep knocking the door and running, like complete opposites, you know. So we'd knock the door, run, or we'd call down to reception and get get reception, call Hump to come down. Anyway, one day me and Trimby were in the room, and Malcolm O'Kelly called up to our room and said, "Lads, you're wanted down in the team room." So we're like, "All right, okay." So the two of us went down to the team room, came back. All our kit bags emptied inside out, beds flipped upside down, turned over the whole way around. And what Hump did, he went and got the sticky spray, which used to be like this real sticky handball wax that you spray in your hand, and he sprayed the toilet seat with it. So the next morning I had to get up and go to the toilet, and I sat in the toilet.
Stuck to it.
Stuck to it. Hair stuck to it. The whole lot. So well done, Hump.
People don't
Well
know
done,
how
Gerv.
sticky that stuff is. That is kind of
horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't wash it off either. That's stuck there for a long time. So.
Oh, yeah. To prank stuff, fair play to them. Even the small ones. Like, I remember he used to call into Frankie Sheen's room, and he would just pick up the phone, and he'd pick a room, like, and "Hi, Andrew Trimble. Yeah, Brian O'Brien, he's looking for you down here in reception." And Trimby'd walk down, and there'd be no one there. Like, and you're there, like, how stupid, but brilliant
So
fun.
simple.
Brilliant
So
fun.
simple. One person who I know wasn't really involved in many pranks, I don't think, was Paulie. Was Paulie much of a prankster?
Paul's great fun.
He's great fun, but
he-
you'd be nearly too scared to pull a prank on him in case the fear of God comes back at you.
No, he did me again with Frankie Sheen. I told this before about the isosymmetric core enhancer. Did I tell you about that? Oh God! I got injured. I did my MCL. Is that's not the bad one in your knee?
No,
So
no,
I was just out of.
MCLs.
So I wasn't in camp. I was kind of rehabbing in Cork and trying to get right. But I got a phone call off Paulie, and he was there. "Listen, kid, we're just up here. A.L.B. McCormack, the physio, has got this unbelievable new device. It's an isosymmetric core enhancer. It is incredible." He said he didn't even get to finish the sentence, and I was there. 4135. I was calling up my visa number. So then Frankie and himself got my visa number, and they sent balloons to Jenny's workplace. They sent like a Mickey Mouse and a Minnie Mouse. You know the way those big balloons that kind of walk. Yeah. Jenny said she was working in Boston Scientific, and she was like, "Oh, mortified for whoever's getting these balloons." And they were like, "Is Jenny Hart here?" And she was like, "What the they sent flowers to my coach in Corkon, Pachyderm. They went completely rogue with it. But what a brilliant name. An isosymmetric core enhancer. I genuinely think they should still trademark it. Imagine, in my head, it's the best machine ever.
I'd never have to train again. Strap that onto me. I'm done. Exactly. Once a week, job done. Core
Great
fixed.
prank. Paulie, you beaut.
Paulie Butte. Okay, fair play. I take that back, Paul O'Connell. Anyway, he's now head coach going into the Irish Tour against Georgia and Portugal. He's named his coaching team this week as well. So Dennis Leamy, Mike Prendergast, Colin Tucker from Connacht is going. The other two, so it's pretty much the Munster coaching ticket.
Yeah, pretty is.
Whatever about Farrell picking his Irish coaching ticket, what is it about? Just jobs for the lads, jobs for your mates.
What do you mean jobs for the lads? These are the best fellas for it, surely, no? Colin Tucker as well. He's Shannon man, proud Limerick man as well.
So it's 4 Munster men.
Oh yeah, it is. But Tommy, sorry, no, I know you're not quite blue media. You're worse. You're anti-red.
No. This is taking the piss.
No, it's absolutely.
Okay.
We have the most.
Strong.
Yeah, but we've the most coaches around the place. If you look at it, look at Jason Holland in New Zealand. Look at James Collin, Ronan O'Gara. If you go through that Munster group, an awful lot of our lads are still coaching. Look at your Ulster crowd. Who from your group is coaching, or anywhere around it?
Johnny Bell was coaching. He's just left, but he was.
Hold on. Johnny Bell was
Worcester. He was at Gloucester.
Yeah, I know he was, but you can't. That was
Neil Doak
ago.
was over in. Well, no, he's only just retired. He's literally been an Ulster defence coach up until halfway through this season.
My point is, there is an amount of Munster people involved, not only around, but in World Rugby, that, you know what I mean? That have done incredible things. So
okay, well, this is an opportunity for a new crop of Irish coaches to come through on a summer tour, Paul O'Connell's been given the opportunity to be head coach. Like, fair play to him. Like, I don't say there's nothing wrong with Dennis Leamy, Mike Prendergast, Colin Tucker.
You can say it to their face, Leamy's going to kick the shit out of you. And he's always wanted to, and this is the reason that he's eventually going to fill you in.
I'm surprised Clayton McMillan's not going as well. I mean, why not take him too? Huh?
Brilliant.
Well, I'm thinking about, I think up in Ulster, for instance, for an Ulster player to go on that tour, it's literally a Munster coaching team. So, like, why? I was thinking like a Jimmy Duffy. He's coached over in Australia. He's coaching with Ulster at the minute. He's coaching Connacht, I think, too. He's meant to be a top-notch coach. Yeah. And spread it about. Like, it's a development tour, pretty much.
I know.
Whenever so much of the Irish coaching ticket is away with the Lions, it's a development tour for the players, you could say, and a development tour for coaches. Why not give players from other provinces a go?
I thought you'd want the complete opposite. I thought you'd want Richie Murphy, because that's a new appointment, isn't it? He's gone up there not so long, and Mark Sexton's on his way up there as well. Yeah. I think they need time to bed down. You know what I mean? What you don't want is a state of flux constantly happening with your coaching group, which is
Mike Prendergast and Dennis Leamy. Leamy's only new into Munster the same.
Leamy's been in Munster for, I'd say, 3 years now. No
way. Not a year?
No, he's been there a fair bit of time now. And
you've got a new head coach coming in as well. They have an opportunity to meet him. Listen, I just think for the 4 coaches that are there,
jeez, do you know what, man? You're a negative fucker, Tommy.
I'm not.
You always look at glass half empty rather than go like this is.
Well, listen, that's fine for you to be glass half full when it's all Munster. Like, Munster are 2 points ahead of Ulster in the league this year. There's the same amount of wins. We're both in the knockout stages of the champ. What makes Munster so good?
Well, these coaches do. They're like.
Well, they're not that good at the minute.
No, but they're in the system and they don't keep flopping in and out, if you know what I mean.
Ulster are having a shocking season this season, as everybody keeps telling them. Munster's supposed to be having a great season, but we're both at the same amount of wins and same amount of losses.
Yeah, well, but like, Tommy, I don't mean to be overly harsh, but we've won something even in the recent history. Like 2 years ago, we won a URC.
Yeah, with Graham Roundtree, but he's gone now.
I know that, but we made a dog's dinner out of last year's quarter-final. We're thereabouts. Like, media wouldn't want to tell you that we are, and everyone will want to...
I don't know how thereabouts you are now, but anyway, that's...
Of course you don't. Anti-red media.
You're anti everyone else, you are.
I'm not anti anyone. I actually think this is good for Ulster, that their coaching structure can stay around and actually give them a bit of consistency instead of
we'll get no players picked in the squad, and we'll have no players involved, coaches involved in the squad either. There you go. That's great for Ulster, isn't that? Fair play.
Well, you know what, Tommy, you know better than anyone, and it's always been the case, and it's the case right now with the Irish team. Selection's always fair, isn't it? Like, the best players always play. I believe. And I like this coaching ticket because it shows if you're in the system, there's no one coming from outside the system. You know what I mean? We're not pulling people in from outside. The Irish system now, not only from a player's point of view, but the talent pool of coaches, if you're in it, there's representative honours. And I think that's important for all of them. Even, honestly, the Ulster lads. I honestly, you could easily put Richie Murphy on that tour. You know you could. He'd...
I just don't listen, I know you could. I just don't know why they didn't. I just don't know why they wouldn't give an opportunity to another coach from a different province.
I think
just for experience, for, to bring that experience of an international level coaching ticket back to the provinces. I don't know. Just it's a bit. Listen, it's probably Paulie picking people he knows, and fair play to him. It's his first time as coach.
You can't say that, man. You're just assuming this. You know what I mean?
Paulie must have picked them.
Do you not think so? He could have easily been on to Richie Murphy. We don't know this. This is just speculation on your part.
He didn't pick him.
But no, maybe he did, and maybe he turned it down. That happens an awful lot.
Totally,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Here, back off, Paulie.
No, I feel. Listen, well done, Munster. There you go. Right, let's move on.
What do you mean, well done, Munster? Oh, you're a joker, man. You're a joker. An absolute joker. And you won't talk. I bet you know we'll barely touch over Munster's win against Connacht for 13
We will
men.
in a second. I want to touch on the women. Women's fantastic win last weekend. I was there for the French match. They put it up to France for 60 minutes. Unfortunately, France pulled away in the end, but my God, they were amazing to watch last weekend, beating Italy 54-12. You have to remember that was away from home, and Italy have beaten them the last 2 times they've played each other. So this team are absolutely on the right trajectory. So well done to them. That was fantastic.
Every point matters as well. You know what I mean? Like, so to run up such an incredible score, there was hat-tricks, there was loads of try scores, it was incredible. And it's all heading towards, you're going to love this, Virgin Media Park in Cork for England. So if you want to, like we were saying when we were chatting to Adele McMahon, if you want to get on the green wave and get involved, get down to Virgin Media Park for that. We would absolutely.
Well, that's next up. And to be fair, against England, they'll need every bit of help they can get, because bloody
100%.
England are next level. But it looks like this Irish team are closing the gap, so I'm delighted for them. They actually, just some of the rugby, even to score that final try to get over 50 points, the clock was in the red, kept on playing. They're real athletes. So I'm delighted to see that. Really, really happy.
It's good to hear you're happy about something, Tommy. You know that? Honestly, well, okay. Man, you come in here like some days I'm there like, you know what I mean? Poor old Tommy.
No, I'm not. But there's sometimes
you're
there's
tired,
a lot
man.
of people outside
you're up
of Munster
very early in the morning.
About. Do you know what I mean? It's all going great for Munster with your new head coach, and now your new coach is going the Irish team, getting all this experience. Whoop-de-woo. Look at you, lads. Right, let's move on.
We're not your enemy, and you know that. You genuinely know that. There's bigger problems than us around the place. But if you want to go back at a poor old Munster, you know what I mean?
I want to get your opinion on this quickly, because you've beat this drum a little bit. You would have seen it this week, Beirne coming out, doing a bit of media, talking about the abuse that him and Andrew Porter got from, seemed like French public, I would presume, after Antoine Dupont did his ACL. Beirne and Porter got a lot of got kind of the finger pointed at them by Fabien Galtier, the French coach. I thought that was fairly reckless, and I was surprised that World Rugby didn't maybe step in and make a bit bigger deal on his comments, pointing that it was them who did it. Tried to purposely injure Antoine Dupont. I think Beirne said this week, he said, listen, he's the best player in the world. Why would I ever want to do a nasty injury to them? Now, you would probably have a different point to this as a second row. You would absolutely want to injure him.
I want him off the pitch as quickly as possible. Like, good on Tig, but he knows he's a good player. I knew I was an absolute... I knew I was a donkey, and a fella like that could absolutely expose us. So
I gather both their partners actually got huge abuse on social media.
There's the worry. There's the worry. And to be fair, Simon Easterby came out quite strong the week after it. But I think it's so important. We always, like, we've been going on about Sam and Jack. Like, people forget that these fellas are human, you know what I mean? And they've family that hurt more than them, you know what I mean? And you could understand that from Andrew Porter's point of view. He's thick-skinned. He's used to getting criticised. But his lovely family and people he cares about getting caught up in that, you just feel for them. So it's just, there's no place for it. And I think maybe you're right. Maybe nothing happens this time in terms of Galtier, but I think whoever it is, be it World Rugby or IRB, or someone should say to head coaches, listen, there's consequences to your actions. When you say something like this, you know what I mean? It ripples and it hurts more than just the playing environment. You know what I mean? You're chatting to...
And you want to hear from coaches, but at the same time you think of Mac Hansen criticising the referee and the abuse that he got from that and the ban that he got. So you got to be a bit more cautious. Also... So that kind of happened around a poach area. Beirne, unbelievable poacher. Nankerville obviously got the red card against Cian Prendergast at the weekend. Was that over a poach as well? And Johnny Holland has written in the paper, RTE, this week about wondering, should they be getting rid of the poach? And this is something you've I don't know how it would work, but do you genuinely think the game would be better without poachers?
Yeah, we've chatted about this before, but I think it leads to so much of a grey area. Like, to be honest, I look at Nankerville's red card, right? And I think the only reason that was red is because, unfortunately, Cian Prendergast got injured. And, you know what I mean? If we're deciding the punishment by the outcome, then we're in a really bad state. I personally, it used to be an incredible skill that maybe only a few people could do. But no, due to coaching, due to unbelievable athletes, due to brilliant players, everyone's good on the poach. Like, there was a time before, like, there was Gordon Darcy, Brian O'Driscoll and Bruce O. That was
Yeah,
probably
Sam
it.
Warburton. I mean, even created and Richie McCaw. I mean, those guys built their career on it.
You can name them on a hand. Yeah, but no,
yeah.
everyone is good at that. Everyone is able to, like, it's been coached really well, and they've got so good at it. But I just don't know how you clear out a ruck anymore. I don't know. I would love to chat to actually fellas for, like, during the week. Like, the only thing I think you can do now at a ruck is arrive first. Otherwise, it's over. I'd nearly give away the ball because you're running the gauntlet. Like Nankerville being out for this weekend, if that's the case. Actually, we don't even know that. We're waiting on the kind of result of that kind of hearing and stuff like that. Even that's a bit of a joke, isn't it? Sorry, to go off on the side. If that happens on a Saturday, is there any chance they could just make the decision
on a Monday or Tuesday? Like, why are they waiting until bloody later in the week?
Just leave them get ready and leave them get prepared and the whole squad around it. Anyway, I gone off on one there. I just think, I looked at Nankerville. I don't think there was any malice in what he did. I don't think there was any. I think
it was just his arm. He didn't have his kind of his arm.
Tommy,
like it wasn't in the position it should be. And you're right. I hear your pain. Like it was Johnny mentioned this, and he's talking about the poacher. It's who can get lower, and the lower and lower these players are getting, it's making it almost impossible. He said, and I thought this was a really good line. This piece said, "Are we continuously finding ways to make the jackal safer instead of just removing the jackal itself?" And I just would love to know, is it possible to go back to a game where we don't have the jackal anymore? Or is it now written into the laws of the game that is never to be removed? Because the contest is so important. Like you think about France against Ireland, Gregory Aldrich up against Doris. It was like the two of them were just poach. It was unbelievable. It was such a little contest between the two of themselves. Like it's such a skill, but at the same time, it is so dangerous. That's where we're seeing so many injuries, it seems.
Agreed. And the greatest concern is that you moved more towards rugby league without the 5 turnovers leading to the turnover of the ball. So how can you turn over the ball? And that at ruck time, if you take away the jackal, there is no other ways. And if you're not allowed ruck beyond it and stuff like that. But do you know what? I think this is interesting because it's coming from a voice of authority on the amateur game. Johnny does a brilliant job at our club, Cork On. He's the head coach up there. He's involved in schools rugby as well. And I actually think the jackal isn't, whatever about professional players going out about it, it's a bit like boxers. You know what I mean? They know what they're at. They're professional level. Let them at it. I think for the amateur game, it should absolutely be probably removed from it. It's too hard to referee in terms of making those big calls in those moments without any of the support. And I just think the amateur game, like who honestly needs a shoulder in the head, neck, back, ribs? You know what I mean? If that's the case, there's that in the amateur game that I think. There's another one is the held up over the goal line. I went to the schools cup final, Christians versus Prez. I'm a Christians boy, but I must say I felt for Prez. They were held up over the goal line, right? And that would have made the score probably, with the conversion to come, maybe 15-3 or 17-3. Instead, Christians get to exit 40 metres down the pitch, one error and you're back in the game. If you know what I mean, 10-all, I just think there's some parts of the professional game that aren't fit for purpose for the amateur game, and I think Johnny Holland's made a good point there about the jackal. I totally agree with him. I think he's put it really well there.
I've just tried to look it up here. So it's talked about if you don't have it, outlawing the jackal could minimise the contest of rugby, which is important to the game's appeal, which is what we just mentioned. Some argue that outlawing the jackal would give attacking teams more latitude. I mean, I don't know. I think in terms of the arguments for it is reduced injuries. It would reduce the risk of head and neck injuries and focus on rucking. Some suggest a return to rucking as the lawmakers intended, with players remaining upright and playing the ball only with their feet. So that would lead to having to stamp on people or ruck the ball back again. So it's a hard one to know. If you're listening and you're interested, let us know. Send us a message. Let us know what you think on it, because you have been saying this for a while and it doesn't look like it's going to change. But
do you know what my concern is, Tommy? I actually think it's a brilliant bit of skill. I'd hate to lose it out of the game. But when I saw Keane Prendergast going off. I was like, we don't need to see that. And genuinely, I know what you're saying about Nankivell's arm. I don't think there was any intent by him. I think.
No, I didn't say there was intent.
No. But I know his arm makes it look. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. But this is going to happen the way the breakdown has gone, and I just think.
A straight red card is so hard, and particularly for Munster to go so long without him. Let's move on to MacHale Park.
Are you all right? Are you all right? You're chatting up Munster there.
Yeah. I'm happy to listen. Jeez, it's hard to talk about Munster with you now, to be fair. But listen, you were on the bus journey up to MacHale Park. How long did it take you?
4 hours up, 4 hours back. We the ball.
We went home good form at least. Did the kids have a snooze at the start, or was it all go from the?
It was mayhem from minute 1 to minute. There was different parts. There was hymns. There was songs. There was all sorts. What's that? Hymns at one point. They've obviously learned them in their classes or their schools, and they were belting them out at one point. I didn't know Pink Pony Club was so popular.
Oh yeah,
you know that
a bit of Chapel Roan.
Yeah, honestly, there was
H-O-T-T. You got that one too, no?
And every now and again,
it's just announced for Electric Picnic as well.
I know.
Looking out for tickets. Anybody got some tickets? Send them
Don't you start. There we go. But we must say we stopped in Westport, and do you know what? For good old school rugby values, we came up from Cork, man. They spoilt us into the clubhouse afterwards. Just honestly, every kid was eating hot dogs. There was some amount of food. Every adult was looked after. They just made an incredible thing of it. It was
rugby
actually
values. What's all about?
We played Westport's pitches right under Croagh Patrick. You know what I mean? So we've been 4 hours on the bus. So you're trying to get something out of them. You're making sure you were like. You know what I mean? This is a real special thing to do. That's Ireland's, its highest peak, and we're getting to play under it. It's a great honour. You're trying anything to kind of, to get a load of 10-year-olds 10 minutes into it. There's this massive haze, and they can't see the mountain anymore. They're all frozen. They were like, even the mountain's gone home.
There was a hell of a wind for the match as well, but it was great to see 25,000 people came out for it. Connacht disappointed, to be fair. Like Munster down to 14 men,
13 at times.
13 as well at times. Yeah, I mean, credit to Munster to get the bonus point win as well. Good performance, tees them up really well for this weekend. You're going over to France. Going to La Rochelle, are you?
Going to La Rochelle. Myself and Jenny are heading over. Actually, question, rugby aside, when's it acceptable as an ex-player to wear a jersey to a match?
I was at the Ireland Welsh match, and I did a bit of corporate before and after. In the corporate after, Gavin Henson turned up, right? I
saw this, man.
Wearing his own number 13 Henson Wales against Ireland top.
Gavin Henson, you legend.
I mean, he still looks like he fits. I mean, geez, he still fits into it. He's in some shape. The tan, the hair looked on point.
Him out.
But wearing his actual own jersey, and that's just that's only Gavin Henson could do that.
I wasn't thinking of wearing a jersey belonging to me, but I was thinking of probably wearing just, you know what I mean, a Munster jersey of kind of old school.
Go for it, man. You're a supporter now. Go. You're going to be in the thick of it.
Yeah, that's it. I am a supporter because, we were packing the bags and Jenny was putting on her Munster jersey to wear to the match, and the kids were there like, show your colours. You know what I mean? You have to bring your jersey.
You always wear red, like red buttons or whatever else. So.
Yeah,
go for it. Listen, this is a big game for Munster season. Like I was talking about earlier on, about contrasting seasons, Ulster against Munster. But I think, to be fair, you have an opportunity this weekend. I mean, La Rochelle are on a bad run. What are they? 6 losses and a draw in their last 7 games. Munster they've had 1 win in MacHale Park, so this is a good chance for you lads.
No chance. We're the yo-yo team, and that's even coming from Raj, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Our players.
Yeah, well, that's what he said about Jack Crowley actually, but he had a hell of a game at the weekend. Him and Casey. So I mean, those 2 lads on form. It's going to be a cracker atmosphere. It's going to be a cracker game.
But do you remember when Mac Hansen came out and it said that about the referee, and I was saying that his teammates need to give him a response now. The following week against Ulster. Well, I feel a bit like that for Jack Crowley now. You know what I mean? The only way that can be answered, the Laurie Fisher comment of your only currency is performance, is to put in a massive one for Jack this weekend. Rog gave his views, and I am like when it comes to authorities on Munster voices, I don't. Well, with the exception of maybe Anthony Foley, Mick Galway, and John Kelly, Roger's right up there in terms of, you know what I mean. His view.
Rags there. John Kelly's right up there at that level as well, is he? Yeah.
100%, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, but
No Paulie.
Yeah, Paulie be up there. Yeah.
No Callahan.
No. I'm just chatting about authorities know it inside out. And look, I know if someone said that about him in our dressing room, I know that I'd want to absolutely.
You want to put it out there. It's a tough one for Rog. Is Rog in the Munster WhatsApp group anymore? Like, is there any banter back and forth, or is it all kind of head down at the minute?
No, there would, of course, and he'd chip in every now and again, but it's like he's working there, man. And you know what I mean?
Like, it's a tough one for him, I'd say, because I'd say he's been asked to go, to be there for Munster, kind of like, wave to the crowd, whatever else. But the pressure be on, like they need a bloody win.
They do, yeah. Because where are they? I think they're are they 10th on the table?
10th in the league,
so the pressure is on, but then you look at that, like their big thing is the top 14 as well. You know what I mean? So like they don't want to. Oh, jeez, it's mad to even say, but like they're off a relegation battle, aren't they? They're not.
Yeah, no, I think they are. But for the team that they have and the history that and even Ronan as head coach, but like I know that they're bringing in new squad next season. There's a number of players leaving, but even if you look through their squad, that you would be expecting to line out this weekend. Oh, some big hitters there.
Yeah, and like he's brought them together as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He really has. He's put something special into that team, and that's him. But look, that's not surprising. That's with everything he does. He has an ability to get people to go beyond themselves. Because
I always just remember some of the speeches that he would give before matches, and I would imagine this is going to be a big speech, and not the whole French, half English speeches. But when he speaks, people might see on YouTube when sometimes he speaks, the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up, and a little bit like what you're saying. The Munster players need to pull out a big performance for Jack. I think the La Rochelle players need to pull out a big performance for Rog this weekend.
You got it. I think if Rog is driving the bus this weekend, they're in trouble. Yeah. Like if those La Rochelle lads don't realise what he has added and done for them and go out and give the performance that reflects his work, then you know what I mean, that would be disappointing of them. But it's the same for Munster. Like, like I look at Munster, you hear what Saracens are doing and sending a seconds team. You worry.
It's disappointing, isn't it? Against Toulon, yeah.
Well, like Mark McCall's a smart man. Like they love Europe as well, but it's probably they're just saying you can't. Like they look at their run in. What they go to Toulouse after that, if they were lucky enough to win, they're trying to make top four, where it's probably financially more important to them. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I know we'll chat Ulster in a minute, but it's all back to Munster to save Europe yet again. Like it is, you know what I mean?
I mean, for Ulster probably, and they won't, but they probably sending a second string side to Bordeaux probably wouldn't be the worst thing, given the run in that they have in the URC.
Jeez,
and they want to make top 8, but I can't see them doing it because it's just not what Irish teams do. And I think going to Bordeaux, listen, they're second in the league. They're bloody scoring some amount of tries. It's going to be tough.
Can we just say about that? Like, if it wasn't an English team, I think there'd be more fuss made of it. If this was a South African team doing this, there would be mayhem about it.
No, I think the Bulls or someone did it last year in the quarterfinal. Yeah. I think they actually did do this, and there was a bit. But listen, what can you do? They all have to make their own decision. We all have to. It's a long season. We all have to look after our own interests. And the Bulls, to be fair, got themselves to the very end of the URC last year.
But it doesn't say a lot. It doesn't say a lot about Europe then, if that's the case. If you're chatting about this being the pinnacle of this is the pinnacle of European rugby, right? And Mark McCall had said, "Do you know what? I'd rather win our domestic league."
But maybe they realise where they are at the moment. Saracens are a top team, but at the same time, I actually just think the level between Leinster, Toulouse, Bordeaux, maybe La Rochelle, if they can get their act together, they're a class above at the minute.
Well,
And
an interesting one is the contrast between Northampton, who were really low on the table. I think they're down around kind of 8th or something like that. They're lower than they probably have, after being last year's champions.
Yeah.
And now, like you said there, you get the feel that they're all out
Yeah.
for Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is probably something that can save their season.
It comes down to budget, Donncha. Like, these teams just don't have the budget. Like, genuine, they would be talking about, we do not have the budget to win this competition. And that's what it is coming down to. Those 4 teams that we just mentioned there, maybe even the Sharks, have the budget that is able to compete at the top. And not just, like, if you think of the Munster 23, they're incredibly strong 23, but you're missing a couple of those players.
No, you're right. To go on a run, you can't do it anymore. You got to buy it,
and they're all playing. They're playing domestic and Europe, so to be able to mix it too. I want to move on to the other teams quickly as well. Leinster are going to be playing against Harlequins. I think that's at Croke Park. I think there's 60,000 tickets going to be sold for that. I mean, against Harlequins to sell out 60,000. Yeah. It's just like Leinster. I mean, what do you say? Like, congratulations.
Well done. Yeah, and especially after a good win over the Sharks, the squad will be buzzing. I know there wasn't a whole lot of them togged out in it. Actually, Max Deegan, I know everyone's chatting about him diving into the pool, but he had a big performance. Just, you just know he's going to be sat down though. Like, we haven't seen team selection yet, but you know what I mean. That's what you're mentioning: big budget, big squads.
Well, they were able to fly Snyman, Geordie Barrett, and everybody back to Ireland.
Do you know what I mean? They're the Avengers when it comes to money and coin, and you know what I mean. Like,
that's because the IRFU pay for it all. What?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's true.
11 central contracts. There you have it.
But let's give them credit for the ones they fill, like Croke Park. You know what I mean? If that brings in money for you, fair play.
Huge
well
money.
done. Fair play.
Well, if you think of how much MacHale Park, 25,000 for Connacht, how big a deal it would be for them, for their coffers, for 25,000. Imagine 60,000 for this, and you had 80,000 for the Munster match. I mean, that's your season covered there.
Yeah,
so, well done. Ulster against Bordeaux, that's on Sunday at 12:30.
Oh, difficult time. Isn't it?
Ulster have won their last 3 URC matches. Hell of a game last time out. They can score tries. I'd worry about defence. With Biel Barry named the Six Nations Player of the Year.
And you can't. You can't start like he started last weekend.
17-0 down.
Like, honestly, especially in like Kingspan. I know this one's away, but like Ulster should be, you know what I mean? Especially early on, man. You they gotta bring an unbelievable start and just be in the fight, because that is all pressure on Bordeaux, isn't it?
It is. Oh, totally. There's nothing expected from Ulster to go over there, and they ran them close for the first half, maybe 60 minutes earlier on the season. But again, budget, squad size, Bordeaux, they're wanting to do the biz this year. So good luck to them.
Yeah.
Connacht then in the Challenge Cup then on Saturday as well, Saturday night against Cardiff.
Again, Cardiff. Yeah, I think that's difficult, man.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I just worry for Connacht. I just looked at the last weekend, just the amount of errors, I know everyone will chat about the missed touches, stuff like that, but just putting a game plan on the pitch, and even I know there's a lot going on around coaching and stuff like that, but selection, I thought Mac Hansen was just putting him to 15 on his first game back, just bed him in first and stuff like that. So look,
I know they'd be disappointed, as you said, like Munster down to 13 men at one stage, and to not be able to do the job in front of their home crowd.
But Tommy, we know this is a difficult part of the season to look after team morale, because there's people getting left go, there's guys chatting about contracts. This is where you actually this is where you really test whether you have a tight squad. You see it reflects on the pitch. So we'll be home for something from Connacht this weekend.
We said a long time ago, earlier on the campaign, I'm not too sure what you told people to watch instead of watching the Champions Cup, but this is when the rugby gets good. The weather's nice, hard ground, good rugby being played, Six Nations stress is over, and you're coming to the crux of these tournaments, so it's going to be some crackers in rugby this week.
Absolutely. A shit competition turns good this weekend, so honestly, what went before, forget about it. This weekend should be fairly belting, and hopefully,
and the URC gets better and better the closer we get to the end, the closer it gets to the top 8, the knockout stage as well. It just this is the year, this is the kind of stage that you get really into rugby. So I'm very excited.
Do you know what? That aside, isn't this the best time of the year? Like, if you consider there's a double header for down the park, Cork and Tipperary, and then Offaly and
Is this the start of the championship?
The hurling finals are on.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Masters is on next weekend. The soccer's kind of just about getting to shape. This time of the year where it's like we're winding down to get out, but it's exciting, isn't it?
Well, it's not a wind down. We're going to go to the Lions then as well, so it's all good. Here, I want to finish up with just a quick random story for you. Did you ever play against your man Al Baxter? He was the Australian...
Baxter! I'm only saying it because David Wallace used to do it all the time. Ron Burgundy, he'd be like, Baxter. And then the glass case of emotion. Yeah, he was a prop, for Australia. Yeah, what's he up to?
I just saw it was in the paper today, and you talk about players retrain, they retire. So he had 69 caps for Australia. Then he's retrained to be an architect. I don't know if you're watching the Sevens over in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So they've the new the Kai Tak Stadium in Hong Kong. Looks unbelievable. And supposedly
unbelievable.
The atmosphere in there is meant to be just phenomenal. And he's retrained to be an architect and joined the group now that is building stadiums. And I just thought what he was saying here, he was talking about when he was retrained, finished his degree while he was playing rugby. And then he thought, what I want to do, I've played 12 seasons of rugby, playing in a lot of stadiums. I want to start designing them. How cool is that? So to have nearly 70 caps for your country and now thinking, right, my next thing is going to try and create. So his big thing is the company that he works for now built the Principality Stadium, Millennium Stadium, Cardiff. And they've got the contract to redo Twickenham Stadium. So he's going to be in charge of, he reckons he's going to be a part of now redeveloping and designing the new Twickenham Stadium. And just when I saw the new Old Trafford, the new Man United stadium, that's I'd love to design stadium. How cool is that for life after rugby?
Well, if he needs an engineer, he'll give you a shout.
Yes! Construction engineer.
Baxter, get on to him. Get on to Tommy. He'll sort you out.
Come on, Wally. Baxter.
Wally used to do these things. He used to make up and that would be in his head. But remember Chris Patterson? He used to keep going on with the hello, Mr. Patterson from what is that? It's Harry Enfield or something like that. Or,
it's Kevin and Perry.
Kevin and Perry.
Goes, hey, Miss Patterson. Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Can I have a sandwich, please?
Well, he used to get a great kick out of it. And you're there like, oh, how childish is this fella? What
Miss Patterson, the Scottish captain, and Wally's going, all right, Miss Patterson.
Why don't we get Baxter and Wally over to have a look at that dippy bit of the Aviva and how we can fix it? So, make that happen.
Make that happen. Listen, Donncha, enjoy La Rochelle. You have to wear the Munster jersey.
I'll have it on, boy. Here we go. The saviours of Europe again. Here come Munster on the outside rail, and nobody see us coming.
Well, Tommy, I'm going for an outside bet on Ulster as well to get the job done.
You should try to keep it below 70, fella. Need to be all right.
4 Irish wins. This is the way it's going to be. Listen, thanks so much for listening to another episode of The Offload. Make sure, please, to do like and subscribe. If you have any topics that you want us to discuss, send them through to us, because we're really interested in what the view of the public, even around club rugby. As Donncha said about getting rid of the jackal, getting rid of being held up over the line. All these things. We love kind of giving our own take on these small and big matters.
Yeah. Good on you, Tommy. Enjoy the weekend. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate.